Hi. So yeah, I was just going to tell a quick little tale. I'm originally from Canada. We walk amongst you undetected. And I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and at 17 years old, I fell head over heels in love with the jazz musician. Actually, the lowest form of jazz musician. He was a jazz guitarist. And I mean, I loved this guy. I loved him with every cell in my body. And he liked me very much. He liked me. But I was like, love. I used to say to him every day that I couldn't believe someone like him would date someone like me. Basically convincing him that he could do better. And then one day he did. Yeah. He was like, that's good advice. And I was devastated, just totally fell apart, didn't know what to do. I tried everything. I begged him to take me back. He was like, absolutely not. I tried to turn our mutual friends against him, but they were adults. So I felt like I could not stay in that city and resume my life with any kind of happiness, so I actually moved. I moved cities because of a breakup. I moved from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, across the country to Montreal. And they say, you can run, but you cannot hide. But guess what? You can fucking run. So I moved, and there I am, Montreal, completely different place. I mean, nothing reminds me of my old life. It's a different language. There's smoked meat and bagels and different stores, and I have new friends, and they are very nice, and we are going out, but I cannot stop talking about this guy, David, and they are trying very hard. My friends are taking me out and, you know, being like, come on, OPHIRA, you can get over him. Look at that drunk guy. Go talk to him, you know. But my one friend, Claire, she had had enough. I could tell I was getting on her nerves. And finally, frustrated with me, she just said to me, OPHIRA, it's enough. Why don't you just go to the Haitian witch doctor and put a spell on him? And I was like, finally, some fucking advice. So she gave me the number for a Haitian witch doctor in Montreal. There's a large Haitian population in Montreal. Her name was Natasha. I have no idea why she had a Russian name. That's just one of the many mysteries. And I made an appointment, and in a very odd moment, I took a bus to a suburb and was walking down the street trying to find this address in just a very normal neighborhood. I really was expecting exoticism. I wanted a dungeon, I wanted taxidermy animals and velvet curtains and big candles and dry ice. But what I was met with was just a bungalow, simple house with those Hummel kids in the window, right? And I was like, well, let's hope they're just made of porcelain. And I rang the doorbell, wondering, you know, what is this? Is this a front? And a woman answered the door wearing just, jeans and a T-shirt, hair pulled back. And she said, hello. And I said, are you a Haitian witch doctor? And she said, yes, I'm Natasha. She did not look like a Haitian witch doctor. I felt like this was a scam. She looked like she worked in HR for the Haitian witch doctor at best. But she welcomed me in, and I followed, and I was like, let's just hope she has a basement. So we sat down in her living room, and I'm sure some of you have been through this Haitian witch doctor spell thing, so you know how it goes. But for those of you that don't, here's how it goes. You sit down, she asked me all about my problems, and then I told them to her while she listened. It's very much like therapy. The only difference is at the end she would like cast a hex. So it's actually how you wish therapy would actually go. So I told her I was in love with this guy, and he didn't want to be with me, but that made the entire universe out of order because we were meant to be together, and I needed her help to fix this. And for $40, she offered me the choice between two spells: the come back to me spell or the move on with your life spell. And I was like, come back to me spell. She was like, the move on with your life spell is a very good spell. I was like, no, come back to me spell. She was like, the move on with your life spell is on sale. like, no, I want the come back to me spell. She was like, all right. And she gave me 2 candles, green candles, sectioned off 7 sections per candle. And what I was supposed to do was to burn 1 section each night at sundown while staring at his picture and reading this Haitian text that she had written out in English for me phonetically, kind of like a Passover Haggadah. And so I was to burn the candle, stare at his photo, and chant every night for 2 weeks. Which, to be honest with you, wasn't that different from what I was already doing with my life. So you might think you sound pretty smart, or you seem like you're not an idiot. Did you really think this was going to work? Yes. The answer is yes. I invested everything in this. It was my last chance to make it happen. I set up my altar in the back of my closet in my apartment. I didn't want my roommate to find out about it because she would surely raise the rent. And I performed this ritual as best as I could. I got really into it. Honestly, you know what? I understood religion for the first time in my life. My days had structure and purpose. I knew what I was doing. It was kind of nice. And then at the end of 2 weeks, I bounded out of bed like an idiot, and I was like, everything's gonna change today because he's gonna come back to me. And I waited a little bit in the day to call him, you know, to be cool. And then I called him, and he picked up because this was actually before call display, when the phone was a magical device of surprise. Right, ring, ring, hello, and a journey would begin. You didn't know what was gonna happen. And he picked up, and I was like, hey, it's OPHIRA. And I just heard, hi, OPHIRA. He didn't seem like he wanted to talk to me. I couldn't believe what was going on. I was really frenetic and working too hard on the phone because he wasn't giving me anything. And finally, it was so awkward, and I didn't understand what was going on. I just said to him, desperately, I said, are you seeing someone else? And he said yes. And I was like, what? What? And I was like, should I tell him that I put a spell on him and this is not how he's supposed to respond? And I said, do I know this girl? And he goes, yes. Her name was Kim. She was a flautist. She was blonde and petite, very cute with a high voice, the complete antithesis of me. And you know, when someone dates someone after you that is kind of like you, that reminds you sort of the same of yourself, that's a compliment. That is like brand loyalty, you know, like they're sort of generally into this. They just didn't like this particular model because it always broke down in public. But when they go completely another route, that is insulting. That is like, no, I've called customer service. I never want to go back to this company. I'm going Japanese. And so I couldn't believe it, and I'm just trying to figure out what to say. And then his tone changed. There was a pause, and he just went, OPHIRA, in this warm way that I thought, oh, the spell has just hit. We just needed a little time, and now here we are. And I said, yes, David. And he goes, I have something to ask you. And I was like, yes, David. And he said, I have to ask you to stop calling me. And in one last really sad plea, I said, okay, but promise me this. If by the time I'm 30, which seemed like eons away, and you're 35, if we're both not married, promise me you'll give me another chance. And he said, whatever, and hung up the phone. And that was it. I mean, I had no other moves. I had played my last move. I had put a fucking spell on the guy. Like, I was out of moves. So I had no choice but to move on. And life did go on. And, you know, I lived in Montreal and went to school and dated different people. And time passed and things changed. Now I always go home to Calgary for the holidays. My birthday is January 2nd, and I mention that too because it's such a just odd and distinctive time to have a birthday that a lot of people, even acquaintances, remember. And there I was at home, and it was January 2nd, and the phone rang, but now there was call display, and there are some numbers you never forget. And I'm like, oh, how interesting. And I pick it up, and I'm like, hey, David. And he's like, hey, OPHIRA, happy birthday, the big 3-0. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. He's like, so how are things going? Little chatter. And he goes, do you remember when you were like 20 years old, you said this thing to me on the phone? And I was like, I don't know. No, I don't remember anything. He goes, okay, well, what you said to me was, I was like, yeah, I remember. Okay, like, It's just very embarrassing. I'm shameful about that. I was very young and naive. I didn't understand the way the world worked. And I'm sorry I put you through that. It's like, we can laugh at it now. He was like, well, you know, I don't know if you've heard this, but I was engaged to get married, but we recently broke it off. So I'm single. I don't know what your deal is, but what do you say, babe? Do you want to give us another shot? And I was like, oh my God. No. no, of course not. Like, I had no choice. I moved on with my life. I'm not that person anymore. And I would say that, like, something inside me was like, oh, a chance that I could have had that I just can't take now. But no. It felt great. Revenge is fucking amazing. Like, it felt amazing. And that Haitian witch doctor was fantastic. Thank you very much.